Welcome back, everybody. It's episode 21 of the What's He On About Cricket podcast. And today we're going to dive briefly into the cricket news of the week. I've got a few lovely news stories for you, including David Warner asking to be booed by the English public. Oh, what a corker. Then we've got the main question of the week. Who will bat at three for England in the Test cricket stuff? Come the summer, come the Ashes, who will be England's number three? And then finally, we'll end it off with our quizzical question of the week, which today is, again, which England Test cricket player is this? The fewer clues you get it in, the better. And the first clue I'll give it to you now is this England player has more than 50 not outs for England. That's a lot of not outs. So have a think over the episode as we bask in the sunshine of this episode of What's He On About. So ask yourself, what is he on about? We'll start with the main news story of the week, David Warner. He's come out, he's put it on the record, and he's asked for the English fans to boo him. This comes after he was selected for the London Spirit in the 100 draft. Yes, David Warner has been picked by an English team. That's what we're going to be seeing this summer, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the Lords-based team. This raises questions, this raises queries. Davey Warner, just to say, first of all, he's asked to be booed. First of all, this was always going to happen, Warney. All right? I don't know why you're trying to make it on your own terms, as if you asked for this. This was always going to happen. You were going to get absolutely pummeled by the English fans, and that was always going to happen. Either way, whether you asked for it or not, that was coming your way, Davey. Sorry to speak to Warney directly. I'm sure he's probably not listening to this. But here comes the second issue. Based at Lords, we wind ourselves back a couple of years, 2023 Ashes, there was an altercation between the members and Khawaja. Admittedly, the members from MCC were in the wrong. However, David Warner took it upon himself to front up to some MCC members. I wonder how the Lords long run will take that in the future. David Warner is clearly not afraid to front up and, go at some riled up members. So let's see, he's now part of the home team. Lords are going to be having to support this bloke. David Warner, you're in for a cold reception. That's for darn sure. And I thought I'd say this last thing, which is he's also quoted, this has been quoted by the way, that he knows he's going to be asked a lot of questions by the English players about what goes on behind the scenes in Australia. What are the little things we need to know before the Ashes? And David Warner said, I'll be tight-lipped. Now, you're making it sound like, no, I'm going to stop speaking to David Warner, I think, directly. He's making it sound like he's relevant. He's making it sound like he gets the chat behind the scenes. I'll wind you back even further. He actually offered to return to the Australian setup versus India last winter. He offered to return as the opener, and he was swiftly rejected by Pat Cummins. This makes me think that maybe he's not getting, the information we might think he is. He's really not involved in that group anymore. And David Warner, not only are you becoming less relevant by the day in the Australian setup, you're also going to get booed however you ask the question. Really, David Warner. So I wish you the best come the 100. However, I wouldn't be surprised if both the home and away side will cheer as David Warner gets out. So that's the main news story of the week. I love that David Warner's come out riling up a few Englishmen. And that is what I've missed since he's been retired. I've missed him annoying me, and he's back, and I love it. Now, Mark Wood, he's out for the English summer. Mark Wood is out. He's injured. He's got a knee operation, knee surgery, whatever you hear from Mark Wood these days. He is injured again. It raises the question, is it too much bowling? Too much high pace fast bowling? Or are we bowling him too inconsistently? This raises the question that maybe it's the fault of not bowling him enough in consistent time spans that might be the issue to his injuries. Because yes, there's no doubt that Brendan McCullum loves to bowl people into the ground. Ben Stokes loves to bowl people into the ground. It's this ethos that if you bowl rapid, you need to bowl rapid for as long as possible, as often as possible. And that's what we do for Mark Wood. And unfortunately, it's been an issue. You know, the Champions Trophy, Mark Wood fell injured, and it means he's now out for the whole English summer. Not only for the little Zimbabwe test, but the 5 tests versus India. Mark Wood is out, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm starting to think that actually, yes, he bowled so much over that Champions Trophy period, but because we haven't bowled him that much, in the recent past, he's actually never really become accustomed to bowling the amount international bowlers should be bowling. That's what Mark Wood should be doing. He's an international player, but because we've never been confident enough to push him through those barriers, he's never actually bowled that much before, and no doubt he's getting injured. But I think partly both are true. He did bowl probably too much in the Champions Trophy and the ODIs and the short stuff versus India. But also, we haven't done that before with him. We need to be bowling him consistently long spells. All right. But again, we need to build him up. We need to make him stronger. All right. We know he doesn't have a huge amount of time left in an England shirt, and he's going to be huge for the Ashes, which moves on to my final point with Mark Wood, which is him getting injured now actually quite beneficial? Because let's be honest, come England India this summer, he would have got injured anyway, and then he'd been out for the Ashes. It really does make you think, doesn't it, that actually maybe Mark Wood getting injured now could sort England out for the Ashes. That's just one to think about, one to ponder. And as we ponder on that, the Pakistan selectors have also been pondering, and they've been pondering rather poorly. Pakistan pondering poorly. That's the message from the third news story of the day. And in response to Pakistan's demolition in the Champions Trophy, they got pummeled, they lost to India, they got knocked out in the group stages. It all went wrong for Pakistan. But their response, they've now playing a T20 series, a white ball series versus New Zealand, who came second, great side, came second in the Champions Trophy. So their response, Pakistan decided, you know what, we're going to make some changes to the squad. We're going to make some radical changes. 2 people get dropped. Babar Azam and the captain, Mohammad Rizwan. Now, I admitted I was a bit surprised, even for Pakistan's, relentless standards. This was surprising to drop their 2 highest run scorers and most experienced players in one swift stroke. And I had my concerns, to be honest, and they've come true. So did their batting improve? No, it didn't. Pakistan in the first T20 without Babar Azam and Rizwan, a new, fresh lineup. They got bowled out for 91 in the T20 versus New Zealand, which then got chased down with 9 wickets to spare. So that was the first T20, Pakistan getting back into the swing of things, a 9-wicket loss. And second T20 happened just yesterday. Yeah, they played 20 overs. I think it was a 15-over game, reduced. Yeah, they made 135, and then they got smoked in the second innings. So despite, a bit of progression there, New Zealand are pummeling this new look Pakistan side. And it is slightly strange that they've decided to drop Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. Pakistan are suffering at the minute. I hated to see them get so poorly done over in the Champions Trophy, and I really hope for the best for them. And you've got to love Pakistan when they're on form. Is there a better team to watch than Pakistan when they're on form? I'm not sure. If you love what you're listening to, by the way, make sure to leave a 5-star review and a review on the comment. A comment on the podcast, that will do. And we're going to move on. As you do that, as you start typing away, I can hear it now, I think, actually. We're going to ask the question, who's going to bat at 3 for England? And I've narrowed myself down into 4 realistic possibilities. The last one maybe isn't quite as realistic, but I've stayed within the squad, within that current setup of central contracted players. These are the 4 number 3s I have selected. Bit of stats behind each one. We're going to do a little dive into each player. Here we go. Number 1, the current number 3, arguably, and the most recent test batter to bat at number 3, Jacob Bethel. Now, the main thing that I love about Jacob Bethel, And the main thing that makes me want to bat him there is confidence, aura. That man just comes out to the crease like he owns the place. And that's one of the key traits, so underrated with a number three, is if you've got a man, even if he's averaging five, if he comes out and looks like he owns the place, people are worried when this guy comes out to bat at number three. You know, that's the kind of aura, the kind of Viv Richards aura you need. And there's a bit of heritage there. Bethel's got a bit of West Indian heritage. Maybe he's the new Viv. Who knows? Jacob Bethel. And to be fair to him, the stats don't lie. He averages 52 there for England in his 6 innings against New Zealand, batting each time at number three. And he looked ultra confident with a high score of 96. So, in my opinion, he needs to play in that first England test of the summer against Zimbabwe. Absolutely has to. Scrap this playing full strength side. We need Bethel and all these other number three options to be playing in that game, because that is going to decide who maybe starts to play in the Indian Test series. And finally, we've got to admit that yes, Jacob Bethel has a questionable first-class record, hasn't got a huge amount batting at three, but the fact remains that this man, the higher we've batted him, the better he's played, and his aura and confidence is undeniably impressive. That guy could be incredible, but is he the future number three? Not sure yet. Let's go to Ollie Pope. A lot of people are worrying about this guy. They're thinking, not sure Ollie Pope's the man. He looks scratchy and he doesn't look confident against the new ball, especially in those swinging seaming conditions. And when we get to Australia with Scotty Boland, Josh Hazlewood bowling on a just back of a length, sort of nibbly surface, I could see Ollie Pope getting found out. However, that's not the current thing in our view. We are looking towards the England, India and Zimbabwe series. So Ollie Pope, yes, he looks scratchy. Yes, he looks bad against the new ball. He's played 55 tests at an average of 34 now. He's been given so much time in an England shirt, so many games, and his stats aren't lighting it up. He has got 700s, and this is where we start to turn towards looking at Ollie Pope as a decent number three. Because of his 700s, you might not think it. I'll tell you what, have a guess. How many of those 700s did he get at three, do you reckon? You know, a lot of people don't think he's batted very well at three. How many of those 700s do you reckon he's batted have come with him batting at three? The answer is six. Six of those seven have come at number three. And he averages over 40 at number three. He averages 31 at number six, where people think he bats better for England. And he averages over 40 batting at number three. And the stats don't lie. So maybe we keep trusting this man. Yes, he didn't perform brilliantly in Pakistan, not making a score above 29 batting at number three over that October period. But Ollie Pope at number three is definitely, the stats don't lie, he's definitely a man to contend with the other number three options playing for England. And I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a spot this summer. Jamie Smith. Here's option number three to bat at three. 15 innings in an England shirt, and he's averaging 43. If this guy could somehow produce those numbers batting at number three, that would be incredible. However, that is the question we always are wondering looking at a number three. His high score of 111 came against Sri Lanka, and the only question is how he might fare against that new ball. He's batted at number three for Surrey. Yes, he's done okay. Not lit it up, but he's done all right. So it raised that question, how could he play against the new ball? And I tell you what worries me. He played in the Champions Trophy. He played for England there. Played 3 games, batting at number three, and he averaged 8, scoring 24 runs in his 3 games. And those games were against South Africa, Australia, Afghanistan. Yes, I know you can't really compare the stats from 50 over cricket with a white ball in Pakistan or maybe even Dubai conditions in the case of India. But that does worry me that you're facing a new ball against some of the world's best bowlers, let alone the fact that Australia put a second team bowling lineup out. And he struggled. And that worries me. But yes, he's done it at Surrey before. And if he can bat at 3, maybe that pushes Pope down to 6 where he might be more comfortable. But Jamie Smith at number 3, is it possible? I'm not sure. Maybe keep him with the gloves and bat him at 6 or 7. The other man who's looking to bat at 6 or 7, but I could see very easily batting at 3, is the skipper, Ben Stokes. This is our final option for number 3. You might hate it, you might love it, but we're going to dive into why maybe Ben Stokes could work. So he's only batted twice at number 3, one of which was in the final test match of the Ashes in 2023, where he came out in the final innings and knocked 42 off just as many deliveries, really contributing to that win in that final test. But if you're worried about how good he is against the new ball, he's opened twice for England against the new ball and hit 78 not out and 57 not out at a combined strike rate of 159 runs per 100 balls. Ben Stokes does not shy away from the new ball, and if he comes out at number 3 and hits that kind of innings, I'd be seriously worried if I was the opposition. But then it does raise the question of how much of Ben Stokes are you picking for that all-rounder base? You know, how much are you trying to bowl him? And obviously there's that issue that if he bats at 3, he obviously can't bowl. But I think that's a good thing. I think we need to reduce Stokes' overs with the ball. And if he can remain that impact bowler, actually, if you put him at number 3, he's not going to bowl himself at 20 overs straight or whatever ridiculous numbers he puts out. He's more likely to bowl that 5-8 over spell max. You know, target bowling. That's what Stokes can do. And if he bats at number 3, I feel like we could actually make the most out of his bowling in a strange way. Not to mention how seriously dangerous he'd be if he comes out and batters at number 3. But in hindsight, would I want someone to come out at number 3 and increase the scores by 120 and score 100 of them, then get out? I'm not really sure I'd want that at my number 3 to come out and do quick fire cricket. I'd rather someone be a little bit lower tempo, like a Jonathan Trott. I know that's very low tempo, but I'd rather someone who doesn't bat quite as fast. But Ben Stokes would be incredible. So overall, I'm going to summarise there that my number 3 for this summer is going to be Ollie Pope. Yes, he's scratchy. Yes, he hasn't been in particularly great form at number 3, but when he goes big, he goes massive. All right, Ollie Pope. He's got a double 100 and a 190 odd to his name. And maybe he might not be perfect for the Ashes, but if he gets in some good form this summer, batting at 3, get him that confidence back, and he'll sail into the Ashes and could even get us some runs. So that moves us on to the final section of the show. Which England Test player is this? Now, I told you he had more than 50 not outs. That was clue number 1. Now, clue number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is he scored 1,400 runs at an average of 9. This England Test cricketer has had over 50 not outs and he scored 1,400 runs at 9. Let me know what clue you get it on. Just remember everyone, the lesser the clues you get it, the better, the more points. Assign what points you want. Make sure to leave that 5-star review, whatever clue you get it on, even if you don't get it on a clue. Number 3, 188 matches, a whopping 188 matches with a high score of 81. 81's his high score, that's clue number 3. So we've had so far over 50 not outs. He scored 1,400 runs at an average of 9. Number 3, he's played 188 matches with a high score of 81. Number 4, his career was 2003 to 2024. That was his career, 2003 to 2024. Then finally, clue number 5, if you haven't got it yet, he's taken 704 wickets. So I hope you've got it. The England Test player, 704 Test wickets to his name. It's the GOAT, Jimmy Anderson. So I hope you enjoyed, everyone. Make sure to leave that review. Make sure to rate it 5 stars if you can. Make sure to go and follow TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, What's He On About, wherever you're listening to. Subscribe, follow. Make sure you keep loving the content. So I hope it all got answered this week. Have a lovely week, everyone. What is he on about? Cheers.